All right, welcome back to the Elias Macco Show. From shuttered screens to a surprise comeback, Vince Guzzo may have one last plot twist up his sleeve. As this month began, the Terrebonne Cinema Guzzo reopened, and we've got lots of questions about what's next for Vince Guzzo, and he's on the line. Vince, welcome back to the program.
Nice to be back, Elias. I've missed you.
I know, and I've missed you as well. So, let me start off with this, right? Because obviously there's the business aspect here, but I follow you on social media, and I've been seeing, you went through a rough patch where there are a lot of bad headlines about you and your business, right? So I want to ask you right here, right now, is this both a professional and a personal relaunch for Vince Guzzo?
It is a personal, but because my business has my name on the marquee, I guess it becomes one and the other. But it is a sign of, I think it's a message I want to send to Montrealers, Quebecers, Canadians, and to my kids particularly, that you're never out. The resilience, the ability to get burned to the ashes and rise like the phoenix. So, the dragons burned me out, and so. But we will come back, and I can guarantee you that I will get back everything that I lost, if I can say that, right? I mean, and it's a tragic story in the middle of all of this, but we're not here to talk about the past, or like I say to my kids often, there is no future in the past.
But I think it is important, if you don't want to repeat the mistakes of the past, you need to know how you got there. So just before we get to what's relaunching and what's happening here, as you look back, like where do you think things went wrong? Like what led you and the businesses down the path where you ended up in the ashes?
So I'm gonna have to not answer that because there is some background to it that is very complex and very defamatory and very. So we're gonna hold back, but I can guarantee you that in the next 12 to 24 months, the story will come out and everybody will realize that there was no mismanagement. There was none of that. What there was is a lot of bad luck for a lot of people. And we need to remember that there are movie theater operators in the U.S., the second largest operator in the world, Cineworld, that filed for bankruptcy. I tried to avoid filing under protection till the end. And it, at the same time as my second marriage was crumbling, so was my relationship with my lead bank for 22 years. So a lot of things were crumbling, and I think a lot of reputational risk issues came up. And so you and I were on the show regularly, and everybody had to step back, right? Yeah. So and the bank did the same thing, but there was, just remember that July and August of 2023 were record years, record months, right? There was Barbie, there was Oppenheimer. Yeah. If it wasn't for the writer's strike, September, December was going to be a huge month, right? And then January, February, and we had all of the dunes and this and this and that. And then everything moved because everybody panicked. Nobody knew how long that strike was going to last. And that affected the cash flow. And because I didn't want to indebt ourselves even more when I could have, it created a cash crunch that, because of a non-friendly partner at that point being our lead bank, it made us go into a spiral.
So I want to get to, because I was pleasantly surprised, right? Seeing it on social media that in Terrebonne you reopened the Megaplex over there. How'd that happen? Because, with everything I saw again in the headlines, I thought, okay, it's done. The Cinema Guzzo, that's done. It's over. What kind of work had to happen for you to start back here with that one cinema again?
So what basically had to happen is we had to wait for the deadlines. And you have to remember that, Judge Pinsonneau did point out something very interesting. And he did say the assets, the hard assets, the real estate assets far outweigh the debts. So it's not a problem of, $200 million of debt. You got $100 million of assets. You're bankrupt. In our case, it's the opposite. I mean, we have a piece of property that we're in the process of reacquiring. It's worth $151 million, and we only owe $45 million on it. Now, if we were talking to my dad, he'd say only $45 million. My dad's old school. He goes, "What do you mean 45?" Right? But the truth of the matter is that it's technically a third leveraged. But interest rates went up. A lot of things went up. So we started by the best theater. Our best, most profitable theater was the Terrebonne. That property never went under receivership. Those lenders were collaborative. They understood. They were made whole. Everybody's going to be made whole. And so we started with Terrebonne. We're going to move to the Pontvillot, La Cordaire, and then the next step will be to replace those three theaters with three brand new theaters on the exact sites. Then we will develop, put down the old theater and redevelop with commercial, residential. The whole idea is we're going to create about, I would say, 6,000 to 7,000 apartment units within the next 4 to 5 years on those properties, which will be obviously servicing our theaters with clients as well, right? I mean, living there and so forth and so forth. So I think I said with Sophie Durocher, I said what took my parents and I 50 years to build, I will rebuild in 5 years. That's the challenge.
It sounds like you're on an accelerated plan, right? To get to that. So it starts with this one cinema, but it certainly seems like the goals here are far bigger than cinemas this time around.
Yeah, I think that, we were always a cinema company first, and then a real estate construction division, and diversified in food and whatever. We're still going to be a cinema company first because that is the cash flow, but ultimately the wealth that will be regenerated will be from the real estate, and it's a sector of the real estate business I never wanted to get into, which is the residential sector. But hey, given the fact that there's a lack of that, and given the fact that I have these three properties that are located at prime locations, there's no reason for me not to take advantage of that.
Well, let me just wrap up with this. And throughout all of this, Vince, and looking at your social media, you referenced it off the top. Your kids have been a part of this, right? Like and you've been thinking about your kids a lot and the message you have for them. So as I wrap up this, how are your kids feeling now to see you on the ascendant again?
I'll tell you, the boys are happy, but I did force them to go get jobs as bus boys or as the construction guys, just to tell them, you know what? Because daddy could do it, we gave you a job within the family business, but let's go experience. What if things would not gone the way we wanted to? So go out. But the person who's been my rock during the whole time is my 14-year-old daughter. She's the one who every time I'm a little, whatever, pensive or whatever, her and I have grown-up discussions, and she's the one who reminds me that the future is female, and she will be running this company once we're done. She's changed from wanting to go to architectural school to go to law school because she wants to learn what I've learned, my background, my set, etc. And so, at the end of the day, we marry, we create a family, we have kids, and we create companies to leave them to somebody, right? My idea was never to just sell it, cash out, and then give the kids a huge check. My idea was to give them something, a career, a goal, something to do. And so it's still my vision. It's still my plan. But I'm not going to lie. I am very upset, right? I don't look it, but I'm very upset. And I like to say that the old Mr. Sunshine has been put aside a little, and it's a Mr. Sunshine that now accepts eclipses of the sun. There's
a cloud or two, right?
Cloud or two, that's right. So it's going to be tough. We're going to get it done. But relationships have changed. There's a lot of suppliers. There's a lot of friends that have been put aside, and the circle has become, I like to say, minute enough to be a dot.
Vince, listen, it's great to have you back on this show, and I wish you success here on this relaunch.
Thank you very much.
That's Vince Guzzo right there.